All right. So now I hope everyone had a good lunch. This lecture is going long, or lectures today have gone long, just because there's we had the half hour this morning, just kind of going over the little things, and also the alumni coming in. But typically we should be done by noon Central Time. So yeah, today's just out of the ordinary. So I'm going to just create a directory called JavaScript fundamentals. I'm going to cd into JavaScript fundamentals. I'm going to touch practice.js to create a practice JavaScript. And then I'm going to code. I'm just going to open practice. I think it's, or is it code? Yep. If I wanted to open that, or I can just come here and bring that up here. So we're just going to go over some very basic elementary JavaScript items. So quickly, there's a few ways to create strings. You can do single quotes, like string 1. You can use double quotes, another string. You can't do like a string. All right. Can everyone please mute if possible, if you're not muted? Let's see. Who is not muted? All right, thank you. So you can't. What is going on? So you can't mix and match quotes for strings. So this is wrong, wrong string. You can, like here's like, you must have, so if you use like words with quotes in it, just always generally use double quotes. It's best practice, just if whether or not to use single quotes, double quotes, just pick one and stick to that one. I usually just try to stick with double quotes just because of it's pretty much useful. You're able to use it in all cases. There's also string interpolation. This is where you can put expressions in this inside of strings. True. Hello. Else. Goodbye. Stuff like that. Where is it? What else? There's a couple of types of ways we can do numbers. So there's integers, but there's floating point numbers. So floating point has decimals. It's floating point number, or just floating number. There's whole numbers like 55. Come on. What are Boolean values?
True. A single bit.
Yep. True. False. So these are Boolean. What other data types are there? There's strings, there's numbers. There's two different types of numbers or integers. There's floating numbers and whole numbers. There's null. What is null?
Means doesn't have a value.
Does not have a value.
Yep, it's literally this. There is no value at all. So it's like the literal non-existent of a value. What's something similar to null, but where the number has yet, or the value has yet to be defined?
Undefined.
Yep.
Undefined.
Yep. So value has yet to be defined. So that means this has a value. It just has yet to be defined. Therefore, the value is undefined. You have arrays, some value. So they are square brackets. where each value within the array is separated by a comma. And you can have anything. This can be any value. So yeah, it can be an array of arrays. So yeah. So an array is literally just kind of like a list. We have objects. What is an object? So objects are just key value pairs. Think of it as a dictionary. In fact, in some languages, they're called dictionaries. So if you think of a dictionary, like you have the word and then you have the definition of that word. So speaking of declaring variables, like this, declaring this object, or actually let's stick with objects. How do we access, let's say like age, 22. How would I access the value 22 in this object?
Bracket notation or dot notation.
I heard bracket notation. I also heard dot notation. So bracket notation, do I like the object name followed by the or the key name, so like age. So that would equal 22. And then there's also dot notation, which is just the name of the object, dot the name of that key. Bracket notation is preferred. Dot notation is cleaner. So dot notation, or I would say bracket notation allows for variables / expressions inside the brackets. So for example, if you had a variable, let as like some key equals age, you're able to access the object's value like that. That would equal 22. So you're able to put strings and expressions within here. Or I'm sorry, like variables and expressions inside of that bracket notation. You cannot do that with dot notation. All right, speaking of declaring variables, what are the 3 ways we can declare a variable?
Var, let, and constant.
Var, some variable, let, variables can't, or yeah, age, and const. I'll grab it. What's the difference between var, let, and const? And which one should you use?
Constant can never be changed, while variable and let can be.
Yep. So value can never be changed. Let, variable, I would say value can be changed, but can only use.
Yeah, you can't originate it twice.
Yeah.
Right.
Can't use age more than once. You can't instantiate a new variable called age. Can't. And then variable var is an older way of declaring variables, but also this is hoisted to the top of the file. When the file is ran. So yeah, I can declare var. I can access the variable if I declare a variable using var, I can access that variable before it's actually declared. But don't use var.
Quick question. This is Mike Chach.
Yep.
Is let, are we saying then let has like a global scope? Is that what the deal is there or no?
Not necessarily. They use let is because at some point it's safer in your program because so you're working on a large code base and somebody just happens to use the same variable name. So it just prevents the using the same variable name in your code base. So it's best practice just to use let versus var. But it doesn't necessarily have global scope within the context of your entire application.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
for
Thank
example, if you type let on line 27, let age in there, it would throw a code immediately, right?
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, if I were to run this, if I don't get any errors, looks like I don't even know what, just like pi. So if I try to do let age again and run that, it's already been declared. All right. Console log. Let's do comparison operators. 2 equals 2. What's this gonna equate to?
False.
True.
False. So it's gonna equal true. Which is it? Can someone defend their?
It's a loose equator. So it's like, hey, if 2 equals 2 in text as a string or 2 equals 2 as an integer.
Basically data type and value. Or value matters, data type doesn't.
Yep. So this just, the double equal signs just checks the value. So the number 2 equals the string 2, but it does not check the type. Whereas triple equals tests equality by value and type. Therefore, this is true, this is false because the number 2 does not equal the string 2. So if I were to run that, this first one is true, second one is false. All right. How do I check the data type of the type of data type?
Type of.
Yep. Type of 2. If I were to do that, clear that.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
So if you were to reverse the 2 where it was the string first and then the integer, would it convert to an integer? That
And-
second value?
So if that and that,
Yeah, but I was more towards the 2 equal signs.
so if you just switch these two,
Yeah,
yeah, it would still equal false or true.
okay.
Yeah, because it's just it's just seeing if these two values equal the same. It doesn't necessarily mean.
Okay.
So type of 2. So let's check the data type. type of 2. So you get number and string. Right. You can also do comparison greater than or equal to. So like greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, less than. So when you do greater than or equal to, is 2 greater than or equal to 3? That's false. But make sure you put the sign, the greater than or less than, as the first operator, and then it goes equal. So it always, so the equal sign will never come before the greater than or less than. Whoop.
Can you use that operator with a double equals, or is that not?
Nope.
Is that not the same, or that just doesn't work?
Yeah, that it's not the same. You can also use not equal. So 2 does not equal 3, or yeah, 3. Now I think you do, if you do single, it'll still work, but I forgot what the single equals means, but
Isn't that the same as the 2 equals versus 3 equals above, the type versus value?
I actually don't know. Let's see. It's a good question. I don't think I've ever done that one. Let's see if this, so does not equal. So this would technically be false if, yep. And then true, yep. So it's the same as the triple equals versus double equals. So this checks type and value. All right. There's 3 ways to write functions or declare functions. There's the old way where you can just say like function, some values, num1, num2, return num1 plus num2 or num1, whatever. So there's this way. So we right to use the function keyword name followed by the name of the function. There's also an anonymous function. So you can do like let subtract values equals function num1, num2, return num1 minus num2. So this is what is an anonymous function, but it's being signed to a variable called subtract values. So some values plus 5. If I run that, it's 6. Oh, need a console log. So it's 6. The way you call this, it's the same thing. Subtract values 5 and 2. Oh, got to console log it. So that's 3. And the last way to do it is fat arrow function. It looks kind of similar to this, but let's call it let multiply values equals the num1, num2, and then use this fat arrow and equal sign followed by that less than sign followed by open brackets. That returns num1 times num2. This is fat arrow function. And this is, go ahead.
Is that the same functionality as just typing the word function, just a different nomenclature?
Yep. So it's literally this. It's all the same as writing this. That way is the same as writing it this way. However, this is the new ES6 way of declaring functions. And it does have some additional capabilities of it that makes it a little more versatile than these two ways. But you really won't really see that until we get into React of like what the benefit of using a fat arrow function versus just an older way of declaring a function. But just know that all these are relatively the same and they'll be fine 99% of the time declaring functions any of these ways, but just know that this is the new way. I don't even say new way because it's been like that for the past probably 3.5, 4 years, but fat arrow functions are the way to go if you're going to pick one way to declare functions. I would recommend going with using a fat arrow function, but it's totally okay if you declare functions this way as well. And let's see, what is this going to return? Well, does anybody know what this is going to return?
5.
Well, why is it 5?
The
It's going to
remainder.
return the remainder. It's called the modulo operator, and it returns the remainder of the operation. So it's going to divide 155 by 10, and then there'll be a remainder of 5, and it'll return 5.
Yep. So returns, or I'm sorry, it's called the modulus.
Those are reversed though.
Oh, yeah. So,
Does that return?
Does that return 0?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
the
I feel
first
like
way
that
it would
matters.
return 10 because
Yeah,
155
because
can
it's
go into
0
10.
times 155 plus 10.
Yep. I meant to write it like this. Sorry. So yeah, so that returns the remainder of, so 155 divided by 10 returns the remainder of 5. So modulus, just know that this this exists and it just returns the remainder. All right. Cool. So that is just a quick JavaScript fundamentals review. We'll be going through this in Python as well.